My bio mom, Elena, has this incredible talent for showing up only when there's a high-definition camera involved, and she walked into my college graduation party like she hadn't been a total ghost for the last 5 years with no call and no text and no heads up. Just a grand cinematic entrance and a loud surprise baby that made my stomach do a complete backflip while I was standing there in the middle of the lawn, holding a lukewarm soda, and feeling like an extra in my own life, as she hugged me for the gram, smelling like expensive designer perfume, and zero accountability telling my professors and my dean how we always knew I'd be a doctor, even though she didn't even have a clue that I'd actually switched my major to architecture over 2 years ago, because she never picks up the phone. Meanwhile, Sarah, my former stepmom, was tucked away in the kitchen, quietly cutting the massive 3-tier cake she'd spent all night baking from scratch. And even though she and my dad have been officially divorced since I was 16 years old, she never left me not once, and she never missed a single milestone or a bad day or a late-night crisis. And an hour into the party, I saw Elena slip into the kitchen with that look in her eye, so I followed her down the hall, expecting maybe a polite moment or a request for more ice. But instead, I heard Elena's voice turn sharp and nasty and condescending, saying, "You really need to back off, Sarah. You're just the ex-wife, and I'm the biological mother, so stop trying to play house with my daughter and acting like you belong here." And I froze right outside the door, holding my breath and expecting Sarah to just keep the peace and stay quiet like she always does for the sake of the family. But then Sarah spoke, and her voice was shaking with a raw, visceral rage I'd never heard from her in my entire life, asking, "Playhouse? Are you serious, Elena?" Because I was the one who sat in the ER parking lot with her at 3 a.m. when she had that terrifying pneumonia scare while you were on vacation, and I'm the one who quietly paid for every single one of her freshman year textbooks out of my own savings because you forgot to send the child support check you promised for months. And when Elena had the nerve to scoff about the miracle of giving birth and having a sacred bond that nobody else could understand, Sarah's voice rose to a full-on scream, saying, "You gave birth? Well, congratulations, Elena, but I chose her. I woke up and I chose her every single morning when she was a moody teenager who hated the world. And I chose her when you missed her 18th birthday and her high school graduation. And I'm the one who actually bought those birthday cards and drove 3 towns over to mail them from your post office, just so she wouldn't have to face the fact that her own mother didn't care enough to buy a 5-cent stamp." And the silence that followed in that kitchen was absolutely deafening, as my heart felt like it was being squeezed by a heavy vice. So I pushed the door open to see Sarah trembling and vibrating with emotion, with tears streaming down her face, while Elena just looked annoyed and inconvenienced that her little secret was finally out in the open. And I didn't even give Elena a single glance as I walked straight across the room to Sarah and grabbed her hand tight and said, "The cake looks absolutely perfect, Mom, so let's just go outside and celebrate." Because in that exact moment, I finally realized that you don't ever get to show up at the finish line and claim the trophy if you weren't the one running the race beside me the whole time.